What's up, Read My Mind Radio? We're in between seasons, but I wanted to share some thoughts with the family. Truth is, I wish I didn't feel obligated to share these thoughts on this particular subject. I'm hoping one day it won't be necessary. Several years ago now, I produced this episode that has really sort of attached itself to me. It's the Black Panther episode. The episode I almost threw away. I didn't think anyone would care. I published it anyway. People cared. I think. I'm just ready to move past it. Meaning, I would love to see those who say they understand and support the need for audio description to be more culturally aware and competent just put it into practice. But it's like...
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
Read
My mind!
Read
My mind!
I don't believe in conspiracy theories. At least, that's how I felt before the phone call. A day I'll never forget. It was a Thursday. Damn, it could have been Friday. Either way, I don't normally answer calls from unknown numbers. Yet this one evening, my cell phone rang, and VoiceOver told me to answer the phone. Yo, that freaked me out. Then, I realized after answering the phone, I heard it wrong. The caller ID really said, answer phone. I think it's French. Wherever she's from, she called to tell me a little bit about the AD Illuminati. Well, sort of. This mysterious phone call came on the same day my daughter, Rihanna, and I finally had the chance to sit together and watch Judas and the Black Messiah. It's a film that explores the FBI's murder of Fred Hampton, the 21-year-old chairman of the Illinois Black Panther Party, who was in the midst of uniting black and other organizations focusing on advancing rights and opportunities for black, brown, and other marginalized people. The movie was first released in February 21, both in theaters and on HBO Max.
Judas and the Black Messiah, rated R.
I'm not certain about the theater release, but I do know that HBO Max did not yet provide audio description. My daughter refused to watch the film until it had AD and she could watch it with her dad. That's me, y'all. It wasn't until sometime during the summer of 2021 that the film received an audio description track on HBO. Almost a year since its release, January 1st, 2022, Rihanna and I sat down to watch the film. As far as the movie goes, the two stars, Daniel Kaluuya and Lakeith Stanfield, playing Chairman Fred Hampton and the sellout undercover Bill O'Neill respectively, were both amazing. It's never easy to just watch a movie like this as if it were just a story. It's not. It's a reminder of a not-so-distant history, a sobering acknowledgement that those in power won't hesitate to kill when their way of life is threatened. History shows that's often when black people are seeking their freedom, standing up for their rights, and when there's a hint of creating a unified front that challenges the establishment. In 2018, I published an episode that focused on my response to the audio description in Marvel's Black Panther. If you never heard that, I'll provide a link and hope you take a listen. In summary, I discuss my reaction to the selected narrator. The episode actually goes into much more, but that's often what's recalled. I refer to the narrator as the voice of the colonizer, a British white man. Unlike Marvel's Black Panther, Judas and the Messiah doesn't originate or belong to the MCU or the Marvel comic universe. The story is real. It belongs to us. This is the black people's Black Panthers. I found it pretty ironic that once again, a film featuring a Black Panther is described by a British-sounding white man.
No! 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 Please, God, no! No! No, please, God. Please, God, no!
I always feel obligated to say, I have nothing against this person as an individual. He's probably a nice guy. Truth is, I really don't have to say that. This isn't about one person. Anyone choosing to focus on individuals should really ask themselves if you're really trying to deflect and avoid the real conversation. Not long after my daughter and I finished our post-film review and conversation, my cell phone rang. Yeah, that's really my ringtone. I guess I'm nostalgic for telephones with actual bells on them. So I just had to pick it up. Hello?
What did you think of the editing?
Excuse me?
What did you think of the audio description?
Who's this?
I'm sorry, Thomas. This is on the phone. You don't know me.
She went on to explain that she's been listening, watching, and reading the things that I and others have been talking about audio description and the need for more inclusion and proper representation of voices in all films, especially those that are culturally specific. She wouldn't say exactly what power she had, but she said she's on the inside and wants to see change.
Have you heard of AD Illuminati?
I have, but I always thought that was a joke. I thought it referred to, like...
Thomas, whatever you do, you can't say those names aloud or use your podcast. Your life is in danger if you do.
What the heck? It's audio description.
Thomas, you said it before and made a damn t-shirt. It's about more than entertainment.
Each time I tried to get more information or even some hint on why using black voices in films about black people is an issue, she just talk about how much she likes the podcast.
I really liked your podcast.
Oh, thank you. I really need to work on not being easily distracted. Sheesh. I did get to ask if there's any specific connection to Black Panther. I mean, sheesh. I can't tell you is all she'd say. Continue to be aware. Pay attention and look beyond what you see. I reminded her I'm blind. We laughed.
But seriously, continue to be observant. There are things happening and people claiming they care and want to see change. But as you know, now, AD Illuminati is real. And right now, their goals don't align with yours.
What exactly are their goals?
Nice try, Thomas, but I'm already risking my life calling you. I'll be in touch when I can. Whenever you hear your phone say, answer phone, make sure you answer no matter the time of day or night. Au revoir.
And that was it. She was gone. I didn't mention this to anyone for a day or so because I was just shook. I finally decided to tell my wife. She just stared at me. I took my phone out to show her my call history. There was no record of the call. I didn't dream it. That's what I muttered to myself as I walked off alone.
We interrupt this program for a special news bulletin.
Hi, I'm Cheryl Green.
And I'm Thomas Reed. You don't look like Cheryl Green.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, Cheryl, she's got hair on her head, kind of curly, medium-length brown hair, and she's got black frame glasses and olive skin.
Okay, now that you say that, you don't sound like Thomas Reed. I think he's a brown-skinned black man with a shaven head and wears shades and has a full beard and might be wearing like a Wu-Tang Clan t-shirt or something like that.
But we are both disabled podcasters.
Do you think we should say podcasters with disabilities?
Oh. You know what? Let's do a podcast about that.
Good idea.
Actually, Thomas and I are working on a project that's all about disabled podcasts. It's called... Oh, wait. Well, we don't actually have the name yet, right? What should we call it?
We should call it Project.
Yeah, I love it. Project. Or like, I don't know, Pod Access.
Okay, we'll go with Pod Access for now. With funding from the Disability Visibility Project, we're creating a space for disabled podcasters or content creators to connect with each other, maybe be discovered by audiences who are interested in your content, or share skills and resources.
So we want to hear from you, current or former deaf or disabled podcasters, deaf or disabled people interested in starting a podcast, or consumers of content about disability or deafness.
We created a survey that should only take about 20 minutes to complete, and we'd really love your feedback.
You can find the survey at https:// bit.ly/podaccess. On that survey, you can sign up to receive more information about Project as it develops.
Again, fill out the survey at https://bit.ly/PODACCESS.
Nice job, Cheryl.
You too, Thomas.
Now, back to our show.
I needed something light to take my mind off of this for a while. I decided to watch the final season of Insecure, also on HBO Max. HBO didn't provide description for their shows until 2021. Prior to this final season, blind folks interested in watching Insecure with audio description would need to find an alternative way of accessing the series, allegedly available somewhere. If you're not familiar with Issa Rae's Insecure, according to her, the show examines the complexities of blackness and the reality that you can't escape being black. While the show is a black show, its characters and subject is universal and relatable. Sort of like what people with disabilities like to think about disabled content. But many non-disabled hear that word and are like, oh, that's not for me. Similarly, white disabled can hear black and disabled and say, oh, that's not for me. Hello. Anyway, humanity, right? Word. Insecure is a well-done series. Young black people just living their lives, searching and figuring out who they are and where they want to go. From black law firms to the streets, all sorts of black. Well, guess who I wasn't black? What? That's right, the audio description narrator. What? And here's where it gets tricky for me personally. I like and know the narrator. She's been on the podcast, y'all. That makes her Read My Mind Radio family. Oh no, say it ain't so. Now let's be clear, I'm not trying to put people on blast or shame someone for their decisions. Nah. To return to The Godfather for a second.
It's not personal, Sonny. It's strictly business.
That being the case, I'm still not dropping names, but feel free to look it up. In fact, go ahead and watch the show. It's entertaining, and I support black content creators. I really wanted to call Answer Phone. I wanted to ask her, what could be done about this? Does this at all relate to the AD Illuminati? No need. I'm sure she'd be vague or even worse, tell me how much she likes the podcast to distract me. I really do need to stop falling for that one. She did encourage me to continue to speak on it and suggested that I do the same for others. So that's what I'm doing. That's what we do. Is there really an AD Illuminati? Is all of this part of some conspiracy? I believe that those in charge are doing what they know. I recognize that it's not malicious or done with bad intentions. Folks have jobs to do, deadlines to meet, and all sorts of limited resources. This has been the way it's been done for years. It goes back to the early decision makers in audio description. They did great things, but they also bear responsibility for where we are today. They chose to not see color. They chose not to seek out culturally appropriate voices. They taught, and some still teach, the newbies. Has the curriculum been updated? Or is it the same old thing? You know, that good old AD. I know for many this isn't a big deal in comparison to other issues of injustice or representation, but I disagree. I think it's just another one. One that will never grab the attention of the mainstream. It's black and disabled. What they don't see are the same core elements that make up the other injustices. White supremacy, systemic racism, ableism. It's for the blind, so they'll be happy with whatever we give them. Ouch. Yeah, hard to hear. Well, it's not easy to say. I offered some possible solutions in the Black Panther episode from 2018. One worth repeating is seeing the selection of narrator as a casting choice, and therefore a responsibility of the director and the production team. If content creators were more aware and involved in the audio description process, I don't believe we'd have many of these issues. I don't think Issa Rae is aware of the voice providing audio description narration for her show. When asked on the red carpet of an award show who she was rooting for, Issa famously and unapologetically claimed,
everybody black. I am. Betting on black tonight.
Here's another consideration for addressing this issue. individual responsibility. It's not just the narrator. Audio description is a team sport. No matter where you fall within the audio description lifecycle, you play a role. As I'm aware of the process today, broadcasters who commission the AD track have the majority of the power. They are the true shot callers. They dictate what they want the script to look like and the type of voice they want to hear. AD directors, managers, decision makers in general, it's time to retire the excuses. We don't have anyone on our team. We had such a tight deadline to produce this track. We don't know where to find qualified talent. All of these excuses just represent the problem. It's time for you to expand your networks, recruit talent, be aware, and prepared. I've seen people find qualified voice talent. Open your networks. They're out here. AD professionals, you have a choice. If you're aware of the inequity and say you want to see the change, well, recognize your power. Narrators, I find it really hard to believe that you don't recognize when you're not right for the project. Rather than finding a way to personally justify that with yourself, why not use your influence to suggest that someone else is hired for the position? Perhaps it's someone you know and recommend. But in general, speaking up about the subject, being an ally, that's powerful. Is this call for equitable representation threatening? When it comes to the voice of the narrator on films that are culturally specific, we're talking about a small piece of the pie. The total number of films and television shows that are focused on BIPOC stories is still a fraction of the total stories made today. White narrators get plenty of work. I don't see any reason for them to feel threatened by these comments. This issue is just one part of a much bigger problem. It goes beyond films like Black Panther or In the Heights, shows like Insecure. It goes beyond the voice. It's about the visibility of Black and other people of color, that's seeing and acknowledging color on screen and stage. It's recognizing that blind and low vision includes people of color. Writers, if you're assigned to a project, recognize your limitations and ask for help. Seek the proper input or suggest that you're not right for the job. We don't need colorblind writers. Nah, silly. I'm not talking about those who can't see red, green, or blue, but rather Black or brown. It's one thing to see Black and brown people when we're in the majority. At that point, I guess you can't help it, right? What about the other films that have a so-called diverse cast and include BIPOC characters? The lack of audio description erases them from the blind consumer screen, rendering people of color invisible. For Black people and others of color, striving to be seen, heard, and in general represented takes place in all aspects of life. What we experience in audio description isn't unique. It's a part of that same systemic problem that persists throughout society. We can't wait for it to be resolved outside of audio description and then trickle down. Why not do what we can do to address these underlying issues that we've all inherited? At the very least, acknowledge their existence and commit to doing better. That's what this episode is all about today, doing better. I reached out to some people who I know feel strongly about this issue. Audio description providers who already commit to this idea fully. The Social Audio Description Team, who I featured here on the podcast last year. Together, we're drafting a pledge that we will invite people to sign. That is, everyone who believes in making audio description a representative, equitable, and fair space. Those who truly want to see the world in all of its beautiful identities, shapes, sizes, abilities. Do I really think a pledge will resolve this? Not necessarily. Right now, I'm interested in eliminating the excuses. We're in 2022. If you're not interested in the proper representation of people of color, then be firm in your stance and say that. Don't tell the community you're for something while your actions say otherwise. If you're in support, raise your volume. I'm talking to consumers as well as AD professionals.
The whole neighborhood came out. Pushers, grannies, crowns, everybody.
Anyway, there's people.
I'm hoping to have this pledge published shortly and plan to report back to you. I'll definitely link to the pledge from readmymind.com and share on my social media pages. Facebook and Instagram at Read My Mind Radio, and Twitter, that's at TS Read.
If you're there to struggle, you're there to win. If you're there not struggle, then goddammit, you don't deserve to
Join me
win.
in pledging to make audio description, or our little microcosm of the world, into an example of what we want this place to be. We can't wait for the rest of them. In the meantime, according to Answer Farm, she's been putting me in position to meet people who want to see audio description recognized for the art it is. People ready and willing to help make AD better for all. People you're going to meet in this upcoming season of Flipping the Script on audio description. We're talking AD in the lab, creative approach, or compliance. Do we have to choose? Blind AD professionals, stand up. You better recognize. Get some AD to describe this outfit. Blind people are fly too. And get ready. I'm bringing you La Profesora. The Flipping the Script on audio description season kicks off Tuesday, June 14th, 2022. Come rock with Read My Mind Radio wherever you get podcasts. We have transcripts and more over at readmymind.com. Just remember, that's R to the E-I.
D, and that's me in the place to be.
Oh, like your last name, Thomas.